When I'm looking for objects to cast, I'm always trying to find objects that are iconic, things that we immediately recognize. So as you enter the exhibition, the first work you're confronted with is a 1981 DeLorean DMC, which is made of different materials that we associate with geology, crystal, pyrite, and in this way it looks almost kind of degraded. The other pieces on the first floor, there's another car, 1961 Ferrari GT 250, and both of the cars in the exhibition are both cars from film. So the DeLorean from Back to the Future, and the Ferrari was used as a prop in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And in looking at automobiles and being a fan of cinema, it felt like a natural place for me to both select an iconic car in itself, but also something that has this other reference from cinema. There's a series also of works on the floor, which are a series of cast books and magazines. When I began this series, I was thinking a lot about what would be the subject matter of these books. Would I cast books that were from other artists, or what exactly would they be? I struggled with the subject matter, so I ended up creating it. So the books themselves are all fictional titles. So the books are cast similarly in crystal, volcanic ash, materials that we think about kind of degrading over time. So the future piece that's in the exhibition is a text which appears either as if it was concealed behind the surface of the wall, or as if it's being pushed out from the surface. It causes the wall to appear as if it's in a state of movement. The wall appears like fabric, right? And anytime we think about the surface of architecture, we imagine it to have solidity. It's not supposed to be moving or malleable in that way. So it transforms our expectations of the kind of physical nature of the wall. There's a number of other works within the space which are large-scale patch paintings, which are scaled-up versions of childhood-type patches with familiar characters on them. These works are stitched by hand and then cast in a similar crystal. So they're kind of degraded pop cultural icons. The other series of work are these wrapped figures. They're also kind of recognizable characters. I was looking a lot at works of surrealist artists who were using the concealment of objects as a way to kind of reveal the uncanny nature within them. So there is this notion of fabric and rope and the concealment of a form, but when you actually get up close to it, you realize that they're actually not fabric or rope, they're cast. Two of the works in bronze and the rest of the works in hydrostone. So the studio is a place for thinking, it's a place for production, it's a place where all the work that I make is created within the confines of the studio. And there's a large team that is specialized in many different aspects of production, from design to exhibition design to kind of mold making, specialists in casting. Much of my work deals with this notion of a kind of fictional archaeology, so taking objects from our present day scenario and imagining as if we're uncovering them in the future, thousands of years perhaps from now. And there's a kind of truth in the materiality. The crystal itself is something that we think about forming over millennia. So the works present themselves in an interesting fashion where, although they appear like they're falling apart, they're made of a material that we associate with growth. So one could question, are the works falling apart, or are they actually growing together to some kind of completion? And there's a play happening in really all the works in the exhibition, which is a transformation of material. So we're looking at a material like the surface of the wall, like the automobiles, like the books, which we expect to be made of one material, but there's actually been a shift in that material, and a shift not only in the materiality of it, but in its, in many cases, from a soft object into a hard one.